Jeremy Bentham, an English philosopher and social reformer of the 18th century, is best known for founding the doctrine of utilitarianism, a principle that asserts the greatest happiness of the greatest number as the measure of right and wrong. Among his many influential contributions to political and social thought, the Panopticon writings stand out as a unique blend of architectural theory, social philosophy, and institutional critique. Originally conceived as a plan for a model prison, Bentham's Panopticon evolved into a broader metaphor for surveillance, discipline, and control in modern society. The concept of the Panopticon. The word Panopticon comes from Greek, meaning all-seeing. Bentham designed the Panopticon as a circular building with cells arranged around a central watchtower. In this design, a single guard in the central tower could observe all inmates without them knowing whether they were being watched at any particular moment. The uncertainty of being constantly observed was intended to compel prisoners to regulate their own behavior, leading to a form of self-discipline. Bentham proposed this structure as a cost-effective and humane alternative to the overcrowded and inhumane prisons of his time. He believed that the threat of observation would reduce the need for physical punishment or constant supervision. The Panopticon, in this sense, was not just a building, it was an idea, a mechanism for achieving discipline through visibility and psychological control. Philosophical foundations. The Panopticon is deeply connected to Bentham's utilitarian principles. Bentham saw punishment as a necessary evil to prevent greater harms, and argued that the best form of punishment was one that achieved deterrence with the least amount of suffering. The Panopticon fit this model perfectly. It minimized the need for harsh punishment by encouraging self-regulation. Its efficiency and economy, Bentham argued, made it superior to existing prison models. Moreover, Bentham's vision of the Panopticon extended beyond prisons. He saw potential applications in schools, hospitals, workhouses, and asylums. In each case, the aim was to reform or train individuals through careful supervision and rational design. He believed that rational architecture could bring about moral improvement and social order, aligning with Enlightenment ideals of reason, progress, and the perfectibility of human beings. Social control and surveillance. Though Bentham intended the Panopticon as a humanitarian reform, his writings inadvertently anticipated modern concerns about surveillance and control. The design relied on the principle that visibility equals accountability. This principle, however, can be double-edged. While it may encourage better behavior, it also creates a system of power where one group observes and dominates another. French philosopher Michel Foucault famously explored this idea in Discipline and Punish, 1975, arguing that the Panopticon was a symbol of modern disciplinary societies. Foucault saw the Panopticon as a model for a pervasive system of surveillance in schools, factories, hospitals, and even homes. A society where individuals internalize the gaze of authority and discipline themselves accordingly. In this reading, Bentham's Panopticon becomes not a tool of liberation, but a mechanism of subtle and insidious control. This interpretation diverges from Bentham's original intentions, but underscores the enduring relevance of his ideas. Bentham believed in transparency and accountability, including for those in power. He even proposed making the operations of the Panopticon prison visible to the public through peepholes, suggesting a system of mutual surveillance. However, modern interpretations often emphasize the asymmetry of power inherent in such systems, where the watchers are not themselves watched. The Panopticon and reform. Bentham's writings on the Panopticon were also rooted in his deep concern for reforming British institutions. At the time, prisons were chaotic, corrupt, and brutal. Bentham saw them as failing both morally and practically. He argued that incarceration should be rational, consistent, and geared toward rehabilitation. The Panopticon, with its emphasis on constant surveillance and structured routines, was meant to be a step toward this ideal. In Panopticon, or The Inspection House, 1791, Bentham laid out his vision in detail. He emphasized transparency, order, and efficiency, offering meticulous calculations of cost and benefits. He also proposed a contract system in which the manager of the Panopticon would be incentivized to reduce costs and maintain discipline. This proposal, however, faced political and logistical obstacles. Although the Bentham lobbied tirelessly for the construction of a Panopticon prison in England, His plans were never realized during his lifetime. Nevertheless, his influence lived on. Elements of his design and philosophy were incorporated into later prison reforms in Britain and elsewhere. His emphasis on rational planning, deterrence, and the moral potential of discipline resonated with 19th century penal reformers. Legacy and critique. The Panopticon writings remain one of Bentham's most provocative and influential contributions. They capture the spirit of Enlightenment rationalism while foreshadowing the complexities of modern governance. The Panopticon, as both building and metaphor, has become a potent symbol in debates about surveillance, privacy, and power. Critics have raised several concerns. Some argue that Bentham underestimated the psychological toll of constant surveillance and the potential for abuse in systems of unchecked authority. Others note that his utilitarian calculus may prioritize efficiency over individual rights. Foucault's analysis in particular helped shift scholarly focus toward the coercive aspects of surveillance, highlighting how institutions can subtly shape and control behavior. However, defenders of Bentham point out that he was a reformer with genuine humanitarian motives. He sought to reduce suffering, promote accountability, and make institutions more just. His Panopticon was not meant to be a dystopia, but a model of enlightened governance. He even insisted that the inspectors and managers themselves be subject to oversight, reflecting his belief in reciprocal accountability. Today, the Panopticon is often invoked in discussions of digital surveillance, CCTV networks, and algorithmic monitoring. The idea that individuals might modify their behavior simply because they might be watched resonates with contemporary concerns about privacy and freedom. In this way, Bentham's vision continues to shape how we think about power, visibility, and control. Conclusion. Jeremy Bentham's Panopticon writings represent a complex and multifaceted contribution to political and social thought. Originally envisioned as a practical reform to improve prisons, the Panopticon has since become a powerful symbol of modern surveillance and institutional discipline. Bentham's design reflected his utilitarian commitment to efficiency and moral improvement, yet its implications extend far beyond its original context. While Bentham believed that rational structures could improve human behavior and society, critics have highlighted the risks of turning visibility into a tool of oppression. The Panopticon raises enduring questions. How do we balance security and freedom? Who watches the watchers? Can discipline coexist with dignity? These questions remain as urgent today as they were in Bentham's time. As technology enables ever more sophisticated forms of monitoring, the Panopticon writings serve as a foundational text for understanding the promises and perils of surveillance in the modern world. Bentham's vision continues to challenge us to think critically about the relationship between power, architecture, and human behavior.